Um, my name is Ayden. I don't know really what I'm calling this. I think it's kind of like a podcast. Um, I think I'm gonna be calling it Floating Through Space as well. So yeah, you don't know me at all probably, unless you're like a mutual friend of mine. Not mutual, just a friend of mine. Um, I I had a plan to talk about like myself a bit and issues I have, but I don't know if I will. I'll try. So, my name is Ayden. I am under 18. Um, I've always kind of been the loner kid, the loser a bit. Had like very, very little friends when I was in elementary school, which is why it was such a change for me going into middle school. Like, I was surrounded because I went to a private middle school, and going to it felt weird because people didn't automatically hate me. It was like they didn't care about me, but they cared to know a tiny bit about you, which was different. And I did end up having friends, I guess. We weren't ever incredibly close. Don't talk to any of them anymore. But um, yeah, it was different. It changed. I wish I could say it changed me for the better, but I still didn't have an amazing time. It was definitely nicer. So yeah, I've always wanted to make content. Uh, Ever since I was 9, I said that I wanted to be a film director. I wanted to make movies. And I still do want to make movies, especially animation movies. If you do somehow know me from YouTube, or if this is on YouTube, other videos on YouTube of mine, I'm trying to make animation, but I'm very bad at it. I've never taken art classes, and I don't think I ever will. I might do like an online course one day, but I've never. I don't like teachers. I don't. I enjoy being guided through things sometimes, but teachers have a tendency to pay too close attention to every little detail, and I'm very bad at talking to people, which is kind of why I'm doing this. In a way, it's because I do have, I want to get better at speaking. Not only public speaking, but like, I can't scream for the life of me. Like, if I was in actual danger, I could not scream for help because my voice is that weak. And maybe this won't help. Maybe it will. But I don't know. I'll be talking for like half an hour. And if my mouth doesn't dry of everything, like the air and the pollen around us, then maybe it'll be helpful. Maybe. Who knows? Yeah. So I'm home alone right now. Fun fact about me, I live with people because I am a minor and also have no money of my own. Yeah, so I'm home alone. They're out somewhere. Was I told that they were leaving? I believe they mentioned it yesterday, but I have no memory of it. So to fill the heart, actually, I wouldn't be talking to them even if they were here. Just wouldn't be talking to myself if they were here. At least not out loud. Talk to myself in my head all the time. Always have. What was I saying? Oh yeah. So I decided to make a chocolate cake. I've been wanting to make a chocolate cake for a while. And so I made one today, and I also filmed it. I don't know if it'll be a video. I might try, but I think the audio quality was awful, and the videos themselves, and I was incredibly awkward because I was paying really close attention that you couldn't see my face. And trying to make jokes or things like that, which is just a bad idea because when I'm standing and when I feel pressure or when I think I'm even mildly cool, which filming YouTube videos doesn't really count in, I get awkward and I get anxious. I'm not diagnosed with anything aside from blind. I'm not blind. I just have really bad eyes, so I wear glasses. But yeah, I think I'm some type of dyslexic because I have a very hard time reading. I always have. But then again, that might also be my first grade teacher's fault because story time, he was the principal of my school, and his kids were also in my year and in my class. And he never really, or actually I have no memory of him teaching us how to read, but I do have a memory of not knowing how to write. Like, I couldn't form my letters correctly because they had to be in cursive. There's a dog barking outside. Shut up. Sorry. And so we had this, like, dry erase board type of thing with, like, lines on it. And you had to, if you weren't good at writing, like, forming your letters, you would have to sit on the ground for, like, 2 hours and write every single letter on that board. And I'm pretty sure at the same time, everybody else that didn't suck at writing, like forming their letters, was learning how to read. So now I'm here. Am I dyslexic? Maybe. Did I just never learn how to properly read? Maybe. But yeah, also reading gives me horrible headaches. Like, oh God. When I was making the cake earlier, it said evenly on the recipe, and I read it eventually about 15 times, and I was like, why would you eventually split your batter into 2 bowls? And I was like, this just doesn't make sense. Like, why would it be eventually? And so I ended up copy pasting the word into Google and having her read it. And then it said evenly. And I was like, oh, that makes sense. I'm just a bit, out there. But then again, like, once again, I've never been diagnosed with anything. Yeah, I'm the second child. I have an older sibling. And I don't know if it's like my parents didn't bother with it or if it was just I never made it clear when I was a kid. But I've never been like diagnosed, like brought somewhere and diagnosed for something. I don't know if that's just because like I'm the second child, so they care less, or if it's because like they just think I have nothing. Then again, I might also just be, bad at reading. Yeah, I'm also an incredibly slow reader. Like I have a friend, and she's incredibly good at reading. She can read like a 200-page book in a day and a half, even less if it's like short and the words are bigger. When it would take me about half an hour to read like Humpty Dumpty, the poem, where it's just he's on a wall and he falls, would probably take me half an hour to read that. Aside from poetry, I've been into poetry a lot. I currently have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 poetry books on my shelf, and out of the 12, I think I've read about 7, and they're all very good. And the thing that I really like about poetry is that it doesn't make sense for anyone. Like, if you don't completely analyze it, you don't understand it immediately. So when I don't understand it, I feel like I don't have to. Because that happens a lot where I read something and then I realize that I haven't been paying attention. I've just been reading. Like, also I can't read out loud. I hate it when teachers, they're like, okay, it's your turn now. Read out loud. And I'm like, you want me to what exactly? I don't think I can do that. Like, not right now, at least. Check back in 50 years, maybe, when I lost all my teeth, and there's a robot in my throat doing it for me, then sure, maybe. But before then, no, shut up. Yeah, I'm not good at reading. Yeah. I've also never been diagnosed for, like anxiety or depression when, yes, it's self-diagnosed, but I think it's very real. At least because I am a teenager. Um, I think it's hard, especially for our generation. Like, I was talking about this with my friend, like, all the time we talk about it. This type of fake pressure to be sad or to realize that your life is good and so you feel guilty that your life is better than other people's. I feel like we're always, like, we have this feeling that we're not supposed to be happy or we're not allowed to be. But then I don't know what happens when you just wake up and you feel numb in your entire body, and it's like the world has completely desaturated before your eyes, and you're just like, oh, this seems like it's gonna be a fun day. And then you feel like, oh, I feel like I can just cry right now. And you're like, okay, well, this is fun. I've also had insomnia for a very long time. I think my mother said I started having trouble falling asleep when I was around 2 to 4 years old. Was when I would have trouble to fall asleep, but I would sleep for a very long time. Like I could sleep for like 11 hours and feel like it was 12. Wait, that doesn't make sense. I could sleep for 11 hours, but feel like it was only like 6 or 7. I'm good at speaking. Yeah. And now it's worse. Only recently though, since like February 2021, so a few months ago, I started having these really bad nightmares where I would have panic attacks and like in my dreams, well, nightmares, they're horrifying. And there's these monster creatures and everything, and it's taken a while to get used to. And I'm still not used to it, obviously, waking up like 7 times a night, sweating from everything, and just being scared out of your mind. And you wake up in a dark room and you're like, what the heck is happening to me? I feel like, I don't know, it's not supposed to be normal to be scared, of your sleep. And people say stuff like, oh, it's just like something that will happen, or the people in your dreams are things that you've actually seen before. And I'm like, then what have I seen that has scarred me so much? Because I've always made like childhood trauma jokes, but I don't remember ever living through anything traumatic. I mean, did I have the nicest parents? I mean, they weren't the best, but they tried, and they still do try to do their best. And I'd say that my siblings and I, we're like really well-behaved kids. At least we're teenagers. Like, well, okay, maybe not me, but like we never talk back to our parents, and we don't help out like much. My older siblings do, but or my older siblings, sorry, they do, but I don't. Everything that's like, actually doing the dishes I'm fine with, but like emptying the dishwasher. Emptying the dishwasher is an absolute war. And like it's like, oh no, it's my turn. No, it's not my turn. It's yours. I did it last week, and they're like, oh, we've run the machine since last week, and it becomes this like 45-minute discussion when you could also do it together and it'd be done so much quicker. But it's that little moment of pride that I gain when I say, no, it's your turn, when I know that it's my turn. And it's that little moment, and he's just like, yeah, fine, I'll do it just to get it over with, and then we'll stop this fight. And I'm like, thank you. And then I just leave. Your problem now, I guess. Don't care anymore. It's that little moment. Like my older sibling and I, we used to fight a lot. like a lot. And one time I had really long nails, and I scratched their neck, and they started bleeding, and I was like, oh, I've gone too far, I've gone too far, I've gone too far. But we don't fight anymore. I think last time we had a physical fight, I must have been 12, maybe 13, not older than that. So good. It's a good thing that we stopped that. But if there are already, if there's anybody listening, why? But if there are any parents listening as well, and your kids are fighting, make them watch The Wiggles, because that's my entire childhood. I think that's one of the only things I remember from my childhood as well, is The Wiggles and the Teletubbies. Did that raise us? Maybe not. But make them watch The Wiggles and the Teletubbies, and then maybe they'll stop fighting once they're teenagers. Maybe not. We kind of just ignore each other now. Sometimes he helps me with like schoolwork. Like he really likes politics and economy and everything like that. And so he helps with me with that, because I've tried learning about politics so many times. I'm just not there. I don't understand it, and I would like to. I just don't know really where to start and how to form an opinion that is still not influenced by everybody else, but still my own. Like, I'd say that I'm a good person. Like, generally, like, I've never been, like, okay, I offend people with my humor, like, okay, I can't give an example just like that, but, like, I can be, like, offensive, but it's, like, playful. It's nothing, like, actually bad. Like, I've never made ableist comments or racist comments or homophobic comments. Like, that just seems so, like, it would never cross my mind, which is why when I go on, like, Twitter or something like that, and I see people talk about it, I'm like, how, like, what, like, I really do try to understand people's opinions and their views and everything like that, but I just can't. I've tried so many times, and I'm just like, but, like, you know, we're all humans. I also feel like, I think that there's I don't think that there's bad people in the world, which is stupid in a way. But it's also not to, like, when I see a stranger, my ultimate my first reaction really is to just be like, go to the other side. Like, if I'm turning, like, the shopping cart into an aisle, and I see somebody also turning on the other side of the aisle, I will back out of the aisle and go back to my previous aisle and hope that nobody notices. And just wait for that person to be done and leave. Because I know that they won't talk to me. But what if they do? Like, what would I do then? Because to me, I plan every single conversation I have in my head, aside from this, obviously. And honestly, I've planned it in my head I've always been talking to myself, as I said, like, not out loud, but in my mind, I rant to myself. And that's also because I have no friends. Or I have online friends now, thankfully, a few. I just lost a bunch of them the other day, but it's their fault, not mine, like, at all. I didn't do anything, but I'm fine, honestly. They weren't good people, and I was trying to distance myself anyway, so don't worry about me. I'm great. But anyway, what was I talking about? I forgot. I'm sorry. I usually remember things. I'm good at remembering. Well, I'm not good at remembering stuff for school. I'm good at remembering, like, names and events. But, like, the scenario we're in, like, on my last day of school recently, our teacher, we did this, like, it's not really a test, but he asked us to, how many, like posters we thought were at the back of the class. Like none of us were allowed to turn around and look. And one of the girls that he asked, he said 2. And I was in my head and I was like, no, there's 1. I know that there's 1. And he was like, okay, who agrees that there's 2? And like most of my class raised their hand. And he saw that I didn't, and he was like, why didn't you raise your hand? And I'm like, because I know that there's 1. And then he was like, oh, yeah, who else thinks that there's 1? And there were like 2 or 3 other people. And then he asked who thinks that there's more. And then he said, okay, now you can turn around. And we all turned around, and I was correct. There was only 1 poster. And he was like, this is what happens when it's like you follow the sheep or something like that. I forgot the saying. Like, sheep follow themselves and they run off bridges. I don't know the saying. But yeah, I've never been a leader, but I've never been a follower either. I've kind of just been on the side doing my own thing and waiting for other people who are doing their own things to like collaborate with me. But I would never go out of my way to collaborate with people. Like, I asked my friends before if they wanted to do a podcast with me, because this is obviously a podcast. And they were like, sure, but I'm scared. And I'm like, okay, well, don't force yourself. If you want to, sure. If you don't. I will not pressure you into it. I'm just doing this because I feel like it. I feel like it's fun. And also, it's not like animation where it takes hours of my time out. Like, I don't waste my life in front of it like I do for animation, where every single second I'm drawing, I just feel like I'm not good enough. I suck at art. I'll never be successful. I don't think I ever will be successful at being an artist. I think I might, or I hope I might be successful at making content or being like, I don't know, like a film director. I've always wanted that. As I said earlier, I never finished saying that. When I was 9, I decided really with myself that I wanted to be a film director. And then I kind of went, when I was like 12, I started liking anime, because I never knew that anime existed until I was 12. I'll talk about anime another day though, because that's a very long subject. When I was 12, I found what anime was, and I was like, I want to be able to make things that are animated without being the person who's drawing for months at a time. Which is why now I am drawing for months at a time. Yeah. The other day I posted my channel trailer, which is cool. I like it a lot. The video though got copyrighted immediately. I was like, this music is from a DMCA free website, and yet it doesn't go past the Google, or not the Google, the YouTube algorithm, like bot filters that look for music, and I'm like, fun. Enjoy that one. But it's fine. It wasn't like a strike or anything. It wasn't like, if you keep this uploaded, you will lose all power on the internet and you will die. It's like, you just won't make money off of this. But in any case, you can't make money off of this. Because you are too small and nobody knows you. And I'm like, thank you. I knew, but thank you. I don't know if anybody's listening to this, or if I'm just ranting to myself. It wouldn't be the first time. I honestly like talking to myself. I used to think I was friends with myself. Like, I would want to be friends with me, which in a way is true. Like, I don't know if you're familiar with the Myers-Briggs thing, where it's like, every single human can fit into 16 different personalities. I don't believe in that. Same thing for the Zodiac. I never understood the Zodiac, sorry. Sorry if you do. I don't. Everything that's like crystals and chakras and zodiac and the planets will align, so you will be fine. I'm like, yeah, but I'm still sad. I don't care that it's my Jupiter moon or something like that. I have no clue what I'm talking about. I'm sorry if this is offensive. I'm not trying to be. I just don't believe. I'm sorry. Please don't be mad at me for that. Pretty sure it's a a common thing to not believe in it. But I'm sorry if you do. I completely respect that. Respect your beliefs. And continue doing it. Whatever makes you happy. As long as it's not hurting somebody or yourself, do it. Be happy. You're allowed to. You deserve it. But anyway. What was I saying? Oh, I keep getting off track. Oh, I'm so sorry. Right, movies. Movies. Yeah, I like making movies. I want to make more movies, and animation makes me feel like I'm wasting my life. I forgot what I was saying before that. I'm sorry. Another subject. Me. Right, I was friends with myself. That's what I was talking about. I would think that I'm a good person. And now that once I was like 10 or 11, I've started to completely hate myself. Like, a lot, like, deeply hate myself. And I went through dark times, but I don't really want to get into that. At least not today. Not on the first episode either, Ayden. Wait till next week when I talk about... No, I'm joking. Oh yeah, the personality types. That's what I was talking about. Right. I met somebody, my best friend's friend. Well, they're not friends anymore, and we're not that friends anymore. But when we were friends, they have the same like letters as me for the Myers-Briggs thing. I could not tell you my letters because I have forgotten them, but I did the quiz and everything, and we had the same letters, and we were actually pretty good friends. And then I was like, so when I was, as I was saying, when I was 10 and everything, I started really hating it, myself and my personality, and I wanted to change, but I couldn't. Also, when I was a younger kid and I had no friends at school and I was getting bullied at school, like, I would force myself into watching the things that the cooler girls were watching. I'm not going to say the shows, obviously, because it'll be a dead giveaway of my location, but, like, I don't know, the stuff that was popular, I would be watching it because I thought I would need to be cool. Was I ever into it? I guess so. I think I was, like, at some point I was able to convince myself that I was interested, but I had no personality until I was like 11 or 12. I would just kind of mold into whatever environment I was in. Like, I had humor. I wasn't sarcastic yet. I wish I was. I was a sassy child, that's for sure. But when I was starting around 7 to I think 9 or 10, I wasn't much. I was honestly, I wasn't much. Which is fine, honestly. Like, you're allowed to grow as a person as time goes, and I hope that I do change more, because yeah, I would be content if I stayed the same. But you know, change is exciting. I hate it at the same time. Like, I'm not close to being an adult, but I'm getting there, and every single time that I think about my birthday, I get incredibly anxious. Like, I brought up this topic and I just felt my heart like speed up a bit. I hate my birthday because it's a reminder that I cannot control time or age, that I have no control over that. And I am terrified, absolutely terrified of being an adult. Not because I would be living by myself, that I have no problem with, but it's really the conversation, like, having to learn how to be a functioning member of society, that terrifies me. And I do feel like I have, like, the correct upbringing for it. Like, I wouldn't be a horrible person either. Like, I can cook, I can sort of kind of clean if I remind myself that I need to do it. I can do stuff. I could live by myself. But I feel like I would never go outside, leave my house, trust anybody to be friends with. So I hope that I do change before I'm 18 into that, and that I do have a roommate once I do leave my house, because otherwise you will find me crippled up in a dark room over my screen or my animation tablet. I have a really nice animation tablet, just saying. I have the XP Pen 13 point something. It's a really good tablet. Shut up. Sorry, there's a car outside, and it's making vroom vroom noises and distracting me. That's not nice. Anyway, my tablet is cool. It doesn't work. At least not with my laptop. I don't have a PC. I wish I did. Maybe one day. But for now I don't. But yeah, I really like my tablet. Just the screen doesn't light up, or it could theoretically, but then the pen doesn't work, and when I try to calibrate the pen, it doesn't work. And I think I just got a defective one because it's always been a bit buggy. It overheats after an hour, stuff like that. If I plug in the screen, so at the moment it's just kind of like it's plugged in, but not to my. It's like it's powered up by my PC. And it's technically plugged in, it just doesn't light up the screen. Like, it's not like a monitor. And then I have a real actual monitor, like a PC monitor, that's hooked up to my laptop. And then my laptop is just connected to the other stuff, like the microphone, the mouse, the charger, the stuff like that. But yeah, I like my tablet a lot. Anyway, yeah, I'm scared to live on my own. Not because I don't think I would be able to live, but because I think that I would be scared to talk, and if I had a problem and I needed to actually fix that problem, I wouldn't know what to do, like who to call. Ghostbusters. I'm so sorry, I make myself laugh. Yeah, I don't know what I would do in that scenario. Like, your pipe blows, you call a plumber, that I understand, but how do you get a good plumber? Where do you find the plumber's number? How do you find a job? You know, like, actually, like, I know that they have websites for it and everything, but how do you actually find a job? Like, my math teacher this year, he was retiring, which it was really like an emotional day and everything. But yeah, he told us that when he was trying to find a job, he would, this is like advice from my math teacher. I would say that he was old and wise. I hated him the entire year because I'm very bad at math. And you do tend to hate things you're not good at. Animation. But yeah, and so anyway, his like words of knowledge for us was, when we're looking for a job, once we've done our interview, they say like, oh yeah, so we'll get back to you in a few days. If it's been like 3 or 4 days and they haven't contacted you again, call them, and instead of being like, hey, so what do you think? You ask them, you just thank them for taking time out of their day to do their interview, even if it's their job to interview people. But he was like, if you call somebody and like be like, oh, thank you for having me over. You were very pleasant and everything. I just wanted to say thank you for considering me and everything, and not just immediately rejecting me. Thank you. And just leave it at that, like a 5-minute conversation. And then I was thinking during the math class, because I wasn't paying attention to math, obviously. But I was thinking, like, I would never, one, have thought of doing that. Second of all, I don't think that I would be able to do that. To call somebody and actually have nothing to say. Like, have no message to say. I can't talk to somebody without feeling like I don't have a purpose to talk to them. I wouldn't be able to make like casual conversation. What on earth is casual conversation? Because to me, it's just, oh, how's the weather over there? It's falling from the sky. It's rain. Sorry, that was a horrible joke. But yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't think I would be able to do that. At least now. Yeah. Also, we had internships to do recently, and I did very bad at finding one, so I didn't find one. But anyway, last year we also had internships to do, but they were only a week long, and I asked this like sports center thing because I was desperate. I hate sports. I'm very, very, very unathletic. Um, Before I used to do some type of sport, but since I started high school, I stopped completely doing any physical activity. Um, and weirdly enough, I lost weight, but that's that's not important. Um, but yeah, like, and I asked them, and I was laying on my floor as one does. I was depressed that day, and they called me back to say no, but I saw the number and I knew that it was them, but I still didn't pick up the phone. And so they left me a message and they were like, "Oh, sorry, we have other people, maybe." So no, they I knew that they didn't have anybody. They just didn't want me there, which is fair. I'm not the most pleasant person to have around. I don't think I might be. If I am, good for me, but I don't think I'm a very pleasant person to have around. I tend to not talk to anybody, be quite cold and not yeah, I'm not a pleasant person to be around, honestly. Feel bad for whoever gets stuck with me. But but yeah, like they just rejected me and I was like, "Oh, that's okay." But yeah, I hate talking to people on the phone. I've never been good at it. Probably never will be.